afternoon, class, and welcome to Shape City. Your group leaders today are Stephanie, myself, Autumn, Fonda, Madeline, and Marissa, and we are going to get right into the lesson. So for this lesson, you guys will create a colorful drawing of a cityscape using overlapping shapes to create depth, and you will learn about how different colors can create contrast. Starting out with an intro question, raise your hand and tell me, what types of shapes do you see in the city? Take a closer look. If you answered rectangle, square, or triangle, you're correct. Now let's look at our intro YouTube video.
Hello boys and girls. This week in art we're going to be learning about overlapping. To overlap is to place one object partially covering that object with another object. So I have these two circles. I have a blue circle and I have a red circle, and you can see that they are overlapping. If I were to take this red circle and place it on top of the blue circle, you wouldn't be able to see that blue circle anymore. And that wouldn't be overlapping, that would be covering that circle. So to overlap, you want to partially cover that blue circle. And this creates overlapping, and you can tell which object or which shape is in front of the other object because you can see the full object.
Let's go over some vocabulary. Overlapping, as we just talked about, is one object partially covering another object and sharing the same space, just like how this rectangle is covering the circle and then covering the triangle. Primary colors are colors that cannot be created, such as yellow, red, and blue. Next, we'll talk about secondary colors, which are the colors that are created by mixing two primary colors. So you can create purple, orange, or green. Complementary colors are those that are opposite from another color on the color wheel. So you have red and green, yellow and purple, or orange and blue. Next, we'll talk about warm colors and cool colors. As you can see on this color wheel, to the left we have warm and to the right we have cold. So on the warm is red, the cold would be blue colors. Now another intro question. Which colors do you see in this picture of a city during a sunset? Think about your answer and then raise your hand. If you answered orange, yellow, or purple, you were right. All of those showed up. Here are some examples of the cityscape that we will be creating today. So which color buildings overlap the other buildings? I want you guys to also answer this question. Which three buildings cover? We have purple, red, and the yellow buildings. Those are the ones that overlap. Now we're going to show you guys our final video project.
For this project, we're going to need a white paper, 8.5 by 11, just normal printer paper. We're going to need a pencil, an eraser, and various color pencils. So to start, we're just going to think about the shapes we see when we think about a cityscape. And as you think about that, you can go ahead and just draw out the sketch of your first building. Now make sure your markings are light because we're going to be doing a lot of overlapping. Now I'm just loosely drawing in the main shape of my buildings, and they tend to be very rectangular, so I'm just starting out with simple rectangles. The main shapes are in, and now I want to think about, what kind of roofs do I see in a city? What kind of shapes are various roofs? And you can really get creative with it. To start, let's just do a standard roof, a triangle. And for the next one, maybe we'll do trapezoid. Right here, we could do a semicircle. And even just another simple rectangle. So now that this part's done, we can start thinking about the accessories of a building. Think about all the shapes, all the different creative ways you might be able to draw a window. For this building, we can do big rectangles, like the ones you see in those big office buildings in a city. And this one, maybe we'll do some square ones with the little window frame. So now my sketch is now completed, and you're gonna notice that there's a lot of shaky lines and there's a lot of loose edges, which is fine because now we're gonna go in with a marker and clean it all up. So I'm gonna go in nice and neat. Let's do my first building. So keep in mind that, things still aren't perfect. Without a ruler, the lines aren't going to be completely straight, but it's fine because it's a drawing. The markers, they're not erasable, but don't sweat it too much. Just have some fun with it and think about all these nice little shapes that you've made in your city. And then I'm just gonna go ahead and do the same thing for all the rest of my buildings. Alright, the tracing for my drawing is done, and we're gonna go ahead and go in with an eraser, and we're gonna erase those pencil lines. And now we are ready to think about the second portion of our lesson, which is about color. So as you look at your beautiful, beautiful cityscape drawing, I want you to start thinking about what colors each of these buildings could be. And at this point, we should be familiar with the words cool color, warm color, and complementary colors. This building, I'm going to choose orange as its main color. Maybe I'll do red as a secondary color. I'm gonna go ahead and start coloring in. And as we look at this building, the colors are orange, red, and a warmer purple. So for the next building, ideally I would want to use cool colors. Now I'm going to pick this nice green color. For the building, we'll go for a light blue as the windows. And I'm going to start coloring in. Alright, this is what my cityscape looks like about halfway through the coloring of the buildings, and we're going to keep going until all of the buildings are colored. At this point, all your buildings should be colored in, and now you just have to color in the sky. Now that everything's done, you've created your very own shaped city. Want to make a cameo? What's this?
Now it's your turn to try. Let us know if you need any help in